Over the last 4,000 days in this world, I've built 3 towns thousands of blocks apart from each other, crammed with factories, production lines and transportation, all connected by train lines. And we're very close to moving on to our next big project, which is all going to revolve around food and air travel. But before we can do that, we do still have a few bits we need to finish around here, as I still need to add transportation lines from this side of the dock and have them drop off somewhere over there. And of course, I'm going to need to create somewhere for all the food from the next district to actually get delivered to. That being said, we're not going to do any of that today. For today, we go to the ocean, as I figured it's about time we made a guardian farm so I can get my grubby little mitts on some prismarine, and more importantly for the next phase, sea lanterns. And apologies if I sound a little bit weird today, I'm just recovering from a cold after a week off. Why does that always happen? You have a week on holiday and then when you get back you get ill. But anyway, we need to prep for today, so if we're going to be making a guardian farm, there's a few things I do know about the mechanics of guardian farms thanks to this amazing farm by ENX04, but we're not going to be building that farm today. We've got Create, so we're going to get creative with it. And I'm hoping what we can do is have some kind of an oil rig or something out there, and then we'll have a tanker that comes in and drops everything off and goes back and so on, and it should all be wonderful and lovely, if I can get it to work. But the first step for today is going to be to find an ocean monument to use. And if I recall correctly from our previous exploration missions, I'm fairly sure there's actually one pretty much directly south. But I don't think this is the one I was looking for, as we appear to be struggling to load some new chunks here. But this is an ocean monument, it has a boat stuck in the side of it, but this should do the trick nicely. Question is there any land around here I can set down on? Oh, there's a bit there actually. That'll do. So if we have a look on our map, where is that ocean monument in relation to things? So that's down here. And yep, that's pretty much directly south, not too far away. I reckon we can make that work. The first thing I'm going to need to do, though, is to clear out the Elder Guardians, the big boys in there that are going to make it hard for me to break blocks. But I didn't come prepared for that whatsoever. So let's quickly go home and grab a few bits and bobs. So I'm no stranger to Guardian farms. I've built a few in the past. In fact, the very first big build I ever did in Minecraft was conversion of a Guardian farm. Look at that, look, doesn't it look shiny? And what I've learned is that potions of invisibility are going to be my friend. So the first thing we're going to do is make a whole bunch of those. And for that, we're going to need fermented spider eyes, which hopefully we can make. We've got a few eyes here. We're going to need blaze rods for fuel. We're going to need some nether wart, which might be a problem. I don't think I've actually got any. Unless there's any hiding around here. That'll be a no. Although in saying that, we do of course have a nether wart farm somewhere around here in one of these buildings. This one, I think. So let's steal some of that. And then we're going to need a whole load of glass bottles. Probably not that many, but that'll do. And I'm going to need some sugar and some brown mushrooms. Ah, sugar could be a problem. Brown mushrooms, though, we've got plenty of those. So let's quickly go scavenge some sugar cane just so we've got enough. It's amazing how many of the basic farms I still don't have yet, but then I would normally get sugar cane for rockets, right? And we're using a jetpack, so I suppose that makes sense. And now if we do this, we should get fermented spider eyes. And the last thing I need is some golden carrots. But we should just be able to craft up some of those. And it looks like I'm going to need a couple of brewing stands as well. And I think we'll just do the brewing over here because, well, we've got water down here, so that's going to make things much easier. And then let's get brewing, I guess. So I've got 12 8-minute potions. That should be more than enough. But we could probably also do with a few water-breathing potions too, so let's get some of those on the go. We're loaded up on potions. I've got my waystone. Let's go clear out this monument. So if we take everything off, apart from our jetpack, so we can still move around quickly, and then get our sword, drink some potions. Hopefully, we won't get seen. But there's only one way to find out. Time to play some Epic 80s music, I guess. Let's go. Oh, I think I ate a puffer fish. But more importantly, all the big boys are dead now, so we can actually start making plans. Now, to make this farm, the first thing we need to do is mark off an area, and I need to make sure that I'm constantly invisible and water-breathing, otherwise bad things are going to happen. And in regards to where we're actually putting things in this farm, this is all from ENX04's Guardian Farm tutorial, so if you want to know more details about why I'm doing certain things in certain ways here, then go watch his video. I'll link to it in the description. It's a great vanilla Guardian farm. I'm invisible, so this doesn't really work, does it? But it is a great vanilla Guardian farm, and it's what we're going to be basing this off of. So we found the corner of that chunk. What I'm going to do now is fly over 2 chunks and put another lily pad there and one across in the next chunk. And this area here, way up there somewhere, is where our AFK spot's going to be. And at this point, I'm already going to divert from Ian's design because, well, what he does is he collects all the Guardians, sends them into the Nether, and then they come up there and so on. But I just want the drops. I don't really want the XP. Plus, because we're playing with Create, I want to make a Create-based farm. So what we need to do is go this way, and we're going to make a big square on the surface here, which is going to be essentially our catchment area. Now, the first thing I need to do is to build up a couple of walls here on either side. And the way this farm's going to work is that we're going to have a load of soul sand down the bottom here. That's going to push the Guardians into this chamber. And then what I'm going to do is use encased fans along the back wall here. That's going to blow the Guardians over to this side. And then on this side, we're going to destroy them with drills. At least that's the plan. I'm hoping it's going to work. So if we stick a bunch of chain drives on the back of these and rotate one here at the end to go up, because we do, of course, need to create power for these. And if I'm going to be trying to make this look like an oil rig, which is going to be very interesting considering we've got a giant square at the sea level, but yep, we'll figure it out. But we'll have a power station up top, and that's what's actually going to power the whole system. So hopefully that should work for getting rid of the Guardians, but we are, of course, going to need to collect their drops as well. And for that, I think we're probably going to use the old backpack trick again because, well, these drops are going to be going everywhere. But if we have a backpack with a magnet upgrade, we can pull everything out. And one other issue we're going to have is when the Guardians get pushed up with the soul sand, they're basically going to go flying at the top here. So we're probably going to need a layer of glass or something over the top as well. But I didn't bring any of that with me, so let's go grab some. Hopefully that's going to stop all the Guardians flying out the top here. But what we need to do now is to get down all the soul sand. So if we get rid of this, we should just be able to line this on top of the monument here. And that should give us loads of space for them to spawn and hopefully get pushed into our little trap. Well, that's a whole lot of bubbles and not very many frames left. So if we go up here now, though, yep, okay, they're getting trapped on the surface. This is good. But to test how effective it really is, we need to go to the AFK spot. So let's just dump a whole bunch of scaffolding here for now. So this should be the right spot. If we go down and have a look, do we have loads of Guardians in here? Whoa, look at that. Oh, that's amazing. And we've got some sharks as well. But if we were pushing those over into the drills, they'd just keep respawning. Oh, this is going to work a treat. Wonderful stuff. But I think I'm going to turn down mob sounds for now, because this is going to get very annoying otherwise. Now they won't be making a racket while we figure everything else out. Although I wonder, if I waypoint away and then waypoint back, there we go, we can clear it nice and easily. So what I want to do now, I think, is potentially try and work out how this oil rig is going to go. And we're going to need power coming out there. So maybe if we were to put legs in around here somewhere, I think height-wise that should work okay. If we would then have a platform on the top here, which is going to sort of stick out. Yeah, this could work nicely. So I'm just going to get the core shape of the platform in. We'll just use these blocks for now, just so we can see what we're working with. And then hopefully we can actually get some power involved. And once we've got the power going, we can actually sort out everything else. And, well, technically by that point, the farm will be working. And I'm very much looking forward to that. I've got to stop going into F5. It doesn't work when I'm invisible. Silly Beardy. Right, let's get building. So I have a basic frame in now. It should work quite well. I think height-wise, it's not looking too bad. I think that probably looks about right. I still need to connect the legs to the seafloor, but we'll do that later. For now, what I want to try and do is figure out power. And for that, we're going to need to actually put in the platform and then build some kind of a power plant up here, I guess. The thing is, I don't really know much about anything about oil rigs. I've never really been on one, and I've barely even seen pictures of them. So I'm going to jump on Google and get a little bit of inspiration, and hopefully we can make something that looks at least a little bit like an oil rig, maybe. So I've done a bit of research, I've looked at some pictures, I even watched a lovely video of a man giving a tour of an oil rig. That wasn't particularly helpful, but he was having a wonderful time, and so was I. But the main thing I learned is cranes. Lots and lots of cranes. Oil rigs tend to have cranes everywhere. They also tend to have a helipad, so that's going to be interesting. And other than that, we do need the big drill itself. So I think we're going to get that in first. So we will build on that and get the big drill up there eventually, of course. But the next thing I learned was grating. Lots and lots of grating. So we'll get this in next. Well, that's the mesh platform in, but before we start working out where things like the helipad and that are going to go, I really do want to get this power sorted. Now, for this power station, I think I'm actually going to do a sort of full-size boiler thing. We probably won't put all the steam engines on that we need, but I think it's just going to look a bit better scale-wise. And to be honest, we do have a whole lot of drills and a whole lot of fans down there that we want running at max speed, so I guess having a giant one here isn't going to be a bad thing. So I'm thinking 6 steam engines should be more than enough. Then we'll just connect those with a belt, but now we need to solve the water situation. Luckily, we're in the middle of an ocean, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. And I think I want to have 2 different water connections. I want to have one that's powered by a water wheel, so it's constantly got at least a little bit of water, because this power station is going to be starting and stopping quite a lot. So for this one here, I'm just going to put in a water wheel. Just like that. And to keep the water in place, we'll just use some copycat panels. And then for the pipe, I think if we were to go over here, we can just strap it to this leg and then have it go all the way down into the ocean. So if we chuck a bucket of water there and rotate that round, that's probably not going fast enough, is it? Not to worry, let's try something else. So if we do that, Stick a speed controller in there. Turn it up to 128. Hopefully that'll be enough. Then if we just move where this pump is, so put it down a block, then hopefully we can set that to vertical. Okay, overstressed. Let's try 64. Hopefully that's going to be enough to bring up some water. Yep, there we go. Look at that, beautiful. So at least the power plant's never going to run out of water. So now what I want to do is to get this and speed that up to maximum. And when it comes to actually running this power plant, I don't think we need to worry about all of these. We're going to be putting blaze cakes in, so maybe just like 5 of them. That should be more than enough. And we'll connect that to this depot and then just stick him there. Is that going to be close enough? Maybe not. So let's rethink this and just put it a little bit further this way. So let's link that up again. Stick him there and give him a cog. Now this power here, what I need to do is get it connected down to here. So let's just see where this comes out up the top here. Okay, we can work with that. Potentially just with a couple of change drives and overstressed. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Because now in theory, when we come up here and we want to run the farm and we chuck a blaze cake in there, it should have enough power to then run the system. At least that's the hope. Maybe we should grab a couple of blaze cakes and find out. And luckily we've got 32,000 of them. Let's see if I give one of them a thing. Yep, okay, that's definitely enough to run this. The question is, can it also run the other side where the drills are? Let's find out. Wait a minute. They're sucking, not blowing at the moment. But I guess we're about to solve that by putting in a gearbox there anyway. Excellent. Then if we stick another gearbox there, make that vertical. And now the drills are running, things are dying. But there's a whale stuck in my tank. I didn't think about the whales. But is that really a problem? I honestly don't really know what to do about that. If anyone has any ideas, please do let me know in the comments. How do I get whales out of my Guardian farm? But the good news is it turns out just one of these is enough to power the entire farm. So I'm actually going to set this guy to only feed one, and that way we're not going to be using up anywhere near as many blaze cakes. So if we stick a drawer here and load it up, put a funnel on the side, and yes, of course. I didn't think about that. This thing's not going to put another blaze cake in until it's run out, so we actually need at least 2 of these going. So hopefully we should be okay now. It should keep going, but we'll check on it in a little while. But I guess now we've got the power sorted, we're going to be getting drops down there, so I should probably sort out a collection system and something to do with some backpacks, I guess. So the backpacks have a range of 5, which means we're probably going to need 2. So this placement should work. And then if we put a bunch of drawer trims around the back here, and then we'll just have these going directly into drawers. So we'll put a slave on that side, a controller there, so it's all linked up. And we'll put in a few spruce drawers. I don't know exactly how many things we're going to get from this yet. I mean, we should just get the 2 drops from the Guardians, but it looks like we're going to be getting fish and whales and sharks and all sorts. So we'll just leave them open for now and see what the system wants to do. I just need to grab a couple of bags and some magnet upgrades to get this working now. So I've got 2 backpacks. They just have an advanced magnet upgrade on them, and if we stick these here and here, they should start collecting all the drops. And in theory, that means if we were to go here to our AFK point, in fact, I think I might just do that, the farm should now be in a completely working state. So let's jump into free cam and have a look. And it looks like the farm's working a treat, apart from the fact there's now a giant squid in there eating them. Is it eating them? I think it is, you know. But apart from that, we're getting a lot of kills, which is nice. We do have some that spawn outside the farm, quite a lot, in fact. Jeez. But the good news is, after running the farm for only a few minutes, look at that. We've got loads of resources coming in. Look how many fish we've got. Didn't need that fish farm after all. But this is good, despite the giant squid that are messing around in there. Oh, and we've got some guests on our rig already as well, I see. Off with you. And you, get off my rig. So with that done, the farm working, the power sorted, what we need to do is make this look a little bit more like an oil rig. And I think the first step in that is going to be to actually build the drilling rig itself. Well, for a first attempt, I think that's looking pretty good. I will just run with that for now, I guess. Because I do think once we build up everything else around the area, that's going to blend in quite nicely. It might need to be a little bit taller, but for now, we're looking good. Next up, I'm going to hide the power plant. I'm going to get this inside a building of some sorts. And to be honest, I should probably get some railings up along the outside as well. Otherwise, I'm going to keep falling off. It's happened more than once. I feel safer already. Now, for this first building, I think we're going to keep things quite simple. We're going to make it look all metallic-y and stuff using these stone pillars. And one thing I did notice from the tour video I watched is that everything is very, very cramped on these oil rigs. So we want to have lots of narrow spaces like this. We're going to have details over everything. And hopefully it's going to look very busy by the end of it. And And we'll have a little sticky out bit at the back here to contain the water wheel. So I've got that all boxed in, but I've also added a limestone bit on top here because there wasn't really enough space to sort of get all of this stuff hidden, and it looked a bit weird sticking out the top. But this should work okay. Let's just get a couple of windows in. Short while later, and I think that's coming along quite well from the outside, but the inside is still looking a little bit bare. So I think the first thing we need is a ladder to upstairs. And I think it makes sense just to use the catwalk up here because it is a little bit dangerous. And it's going to look a lot better with the catwalk when we put these rails on. Down here, we should probably also make it a little bit safer and just rail off the bits we don't need. And then we'll just get a few sort of random detaily bits in just to make it look more interesting in here. Get some brackets where necessary. Okay, I'd say that's looking pretty good in here, nice and cluttered. I think we can do with a bit of texture on the outside though. So if we maybe mix in some of these andesite pillars, that could help break it up a little bit. This side round here is looking a little bit bare, so I'm thinking maybe we can stick a ladder in. And then if we use some of the copycat panels and the andesite bars, I think that will make a nice little cage as well. We've done this in a few other places, and I think it works well. And then here, I think another ladder up to the main roof makes sense. Oh, we've got a dancing creeper. I should probably sort out some kind of light protection up here at some point. He's having a whale of a time, though. Look at him go. You enjoy yourself, buddy. So that's the oil tower and the first building on, but we've still got a long way to go. And I think the next thing I want to do is tackle a helipad, and I think I want to put that over this side, which means he's going to have to go. That didn't go as smoothly as I hoped. So, helipad. This is going to need to be quite large, so I think we're going to have it sticking out over the side here. So if we treat this bit here as a middle point, how big do we want this? So that maybe looks a little bit small. I think we can go a bit bigger than that. There we go. That looks like a much better size. Question is, can I get a nice big H on this and have it look balanced? Yep, that's going to work a treat. I just need to decide what to actually build it out of now. Maybe this eroded tuff would work quite nicely. So I think this could work, but I'm just going to put a border on here of the walkways. Yeah, that's looking pretty cool. Just needs a few lights. So if we take some of these and some of these, then we've got ourselves a bunch of sea lanterns. And if we use these buttons, they should light up quite nicely. In fact, I think we'll alternate these. Some of them are red. Then we just need some stairs to get up onto the pad itself. Maybe a few safety railings on this side wouldn't be a bad idea either. All right, looking good. And I don't really want to put railings up around the rest of this. They're generally left quite blank, just so I guess things don't get caught, but that makes sense. But what we need now is some support because this thing's just floating. So what can we do here? Maybe just make use of some girders. We can probably attach them onto the side here as well. It overhangs a lot more on this side, so I guess we're going to need more supports. There we go. I'd say that's looking much more structurally sound now. And I guess the good thing about having a helipad here also means that when it comes to our AFK spot, it kind of makes sense just to put a small helicopter up there, right? So it appears I've accidentally solved the AFK problem as well. Apart from the fact I now need to build a helicopter. But first, let's get this platform finished. And I think the next thing we need is probably a crane of some sort. And I mean, we could build another custom crane over here, but I'm wondering. We do already have a crane. We even have a blueprint for it because we've got a couple on the dock and it's still kind of linked to the same area. So, I don't know, maybe we can actually get away with, well, not putting it there. But if we shuffle this about a bit, we can probably get it looking pretty good. Maybe we should sink it into the floor a little bit just so it's actually attached as well. And to be honest, I think that's actually going to work quite well. So let's grab a cannon, put the schematic in, and see what we need. So I've just chucked both my backpacks down there, reran it, and this is the stuff we're still missing. So I think a quick trip back to base, and we should be able to get this sorted pretty quickly. A few minutes later, I've got a shiny new backpack loaded up with everything we need, and I've got the cannon here ready to go, and we've got gunpowder, so I guess we just click this and get a brand new crane. And a few minutes later, we have a crane. I've just got to fill in all of these framed blocks, but that should only take a moment. And there we go. That's looking much better. The crane actually makes a huge difference to the platform. Looking very cool. But we've still got a whole bunch of space over here and a whole bunch of things we need to add because, well, an oil rig is basically somewhere where people tend to live. So we're going to need some kind of kitchen galley type thing. We're going to need some accommodation. And we're going to need like radio control tower type things as well because oil rigs are basically ships, so although I do need to extend the legs down, I don't need to extend them all the way to the seafloor because, well, that's just not how they work. So I think we can cram a few buildings in here and we'll kind of decide their purpose afterwards, I guess. Let's just get some stuff built up first. So I quickly put together a bunch of cubes that will eventually become our buildings, and then I got attacked by phantoms. But seeing an opportunity, I decided to unalive them all, and I managed to collect myself 24 phantom membrane. And that's going to come in very handy next episode. I then added some windows, some roofs and lights to the buildings just to tie them into the platform a little bit better, added some girders for support and a few doors, and then I added some stairs that connect the bottom of the platform to the top. And overall, I really think that's helping to pull the platform together, but we've still got a few other things we need to do. I feel like we need a little bit of colour around here, and I'm wondering whether maybe we can make use of more of these pipes. Especially if we put brackets on these, I think it does help to tie it together a bit better. Oh yeah, look at that. Just a small pipe and it makes a huge difference. Whether it makes any sense on an oil rig or not, I don't know, but it looks cool. And maybe some pipes on the platform as well, just to make it look like it's all interlinked. I think that helps. And then maybe we can just stick some shafts on the side here because we can. And I think if we attach these with a couple of brackets, it'll add a bit of detail, even though it doesn't really have a purpose. Gotta love shafts and brackets. Almost as good as girders. But yeah, just little bits like that I think really do help tie it together. But I think in this area here, I want to get a couple of storage tanks like these, but we don't actually have any at the moment, so we're going to need to go make some more. And we're generally just going to try and clutter this area up a little bit more, and then I think we're going to be done. And there's no need to ask about the interior of these buildings. I haven't quite decided what to do with them yet. So I've added some texture, some big water tank things over here. I've added some barrels around and just generally tried to sort of clutter up the area with ladders and things like that. And I think this platform's looking pretty good. And from out here, I'd say that's looking pretty much complete as well. But now we have another problem to deal with. The AFK platform. And I think I am going to go with a helicopter for that. I think it just makes sense. We'll just make some kind of small one, I guess. I don't really know how we're going to do this. But we're also going to need a way to be able to get up to the AFK platform. And for that, we're going to use a warp plate, which is one of these. How do we actually make it? Warp dust? Okay, yep, fair enough. We can do that. But if we get a couple of these, we can just have one down here that we stand on, and then it will instantly put us in the helicopter and then start up the farm and vice versa. And that way we don't need to have a big pile of scaffolding to get up there because our jetpacks just don't go high enough. I've also moved the waypoint in here because down the bottom on that platform you can actually still get shot by the other guardians, and that's just not very fun. So let's make a couple of warp plates just to get us started. So we needed some of these and some amethyst. That gives us this warp dust. And then we just need some stone bricks and flint. Now, if we put one of these in the corner here of the power station and then get this thing, and then for the other one, let's just replace that block of scaffolding with that. Make sure we're at the right level. And then if we put a warp plate here, what I should be able to do is put that shard in there, and then hopefully that'll take us down. Look at that. And then put that one in there. And that should take us back up. Excellent. Now to build a helicopter. This is going to be interesting. I don't even know where to begin. Let's get rid of this scaffolding first. Horrible stuff, but very satisfying to knock down. So I'm thinking for this helicopter, we're probably going to want a lot of framed blocks. We need to figure out what colour we actually want to make it. And I've got an inventory full of absolute rubbish I don't really need. So let's go empty ourselves out at the base first, and then come up with some kind of a plan. I decided to build the helicopter out of a combination of light blue concrete, glass, and industrial iron. And it definitely didn't take me almost an hour to build due to me constantly falling off and then having to teleport back up there and getting attacked by phantoms. But I do now have a small helicopter up here. It's not the best thing I've ever built, but it does the job. And I can even get back inside and then walk back down to the bottom. Question is, what does it look like from down here? A mess. It looks like an absolute mess. It's looking a little bit better from back here, but yeah, I think it's safe to say helicopters are not something I'm good at. But it'll do the job, and you can tell how long I've been up there by how much stuff we've got down here now. Look, 23,000 of that, almost 10,000 fish. Jeez. Ow! Yeah, this is why I don't like hanging out down here. Very violent. But with that, I think I can call this Guardian farm complete. We do still, of course, need to build a big boat to transport everything back to the mainland, but we'll save that for next episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye now.